Hey folks, welcome to the Lucy Calkins Argumentative Writing Unit. Today we are going to talk about argumentative writing. So I'm going to begin with asking you a question. Have you ever argued passionately for something? And what was it? I'm going to share with you something that I, when I was a teenager, passionately argued for, and that was for a later curfew. My parents made me come home at 10:30 p.m. all during my high school years when most of my friends were able to stay out till 12. It was very embarrassing. So I made my argument to my parents. I let them know first my reasons, which were all my other friends got to stay out late and till 12 o'clock. So why did I have to be home at 10:30? I also pointed out the fact that I had a job at Dunkin' Donuts where they allowed me to work till 12 a.m. and yet I couldn't stay out with my friends or go to shows or parties and not stay out till 12. And finally, my third reason was the fact that in the city of Chicago, the curfew was 12 a.m. for 17 years and under. So again, I passionately argued it. Alas, I didn't win. But you, my friends, could possibly make that argument and win. And that is the goal of this whole unit, is to learn to become extraordinary at winning arguments, both verbally and in writing. So we're first going to take a look at the idea of looking at both sides of an argument. So the objective for today is to learn to examine an argument by looking at both sides. So Lucy, in other words, says, collect evidence that allows you to think through various sides of an argument. We're going to start by using an example. So in order to evaluate an argument accurately, you must analyze evidence that is given on both sides. So we're going to use this debate of should kids play competitive sports, not to be confused with contact sports. This is competitive, where they're playing against one or another. So pros, if you are a pro, you are in favor of kids playing competitive sports. If you're a con, the con is the column that is against playing competitive sports. So here's what we're going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is share an article, and you are going to think to yourself while this article is being read aloud, what evidence is in this article? And there is evidence that is pro, yes, in favor of competitive sports. And where is there evidence in the article that I could use to support no or be against kids playing competitive sports? So while I'm reading, I want you to be thinking about that and highlighting, if we have the form, highlighting the form for green for evidence that is in favor, no for evidence that is against. Okay, so let's go back to our pros and cons. So, how many of you actually were able to find a pro and a con? Well, let's see how you did. So, this is how I would evaluate, and this is how you will be evaluating research for the topic that you explore and the debate that you look into. So the first thing that I got from that I found in from this source was that, like parents, I wanted my children to experience competition and learn the valuable lessons that sports teach. So this definitely is showing that evidence that for someone who is in favor of kids playing competitive sports. But what reason, if I wrote an argumentative paper, what reason would I use? And the reason that supports this is that sports teach valuable lessons. So I can look at that evidence and come up with that. And that's what you're going to be doing. So then I go and I look at the con side. And it said in there NFL veterans exhibiting Alzheimer's symptoms. Well, that's definitely not going to be um, evidence in favor of playing competitive sports. But why? And I put that injuries from some of these sports can result in injuries that have long term effects. And they spoke about that in the article. So um, that would be a reason for and a reason against. So you really need to go with where the evidence is leading you. And that's what you're going to be doing tonight. So you are going to go into this handout. And in this handout, you are going to continue to examine kids play competitive sports. I have included a plethora of pros and cons sports links, competitive sports links for you to use in your exploration of the pros and cons of competitive sports. So you can use all of these links or some of the links. Um, but you must use at least 3 different articles when you're researching. You will also have to find evidence, fill in boxes for pros, yes, in favor of competitive sports, and evidence and reasons for against no or no playing competitive sports. Um, just like I did, find the evidence first and then think about what reason this would support um, your side and then or that side, and then look, same thing with against. Find evidence that shows that supports not playing competitive sports, and then come up, what reason does it show you? In addition, I am looking for you to give me links. I want you to link the source that you used here. And I'm going to tell you again, you must have at least 1, 2, 3 different sources. And remember, the more, the better. So again, follow these directions and this will be due tomorrow. Happy researching!